Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to share with you an unusual experience. It's not the usual type of speech I give, even more so because my shoes have been squeaky today. But I've just had an unusual experience, so I want to tell you about it. But before I start telling you about this, I want to tell you a bit about myself. I'm a person. It's debatable, obviously. I'm 35, that's a fact. My name is Laura, and I have a personal dream. My personal dream is this. I have a vision of a world in which every single person, every individual is able to fulfill their own potential as a person without experiencing restrictions of discrimination, stereotypes and judgments imposed from others and from themselves. Now, dreams are funny things, aren't they? They often start when we're very young. We're not quite sure what they are. They're almost a physical feeling here. And we know we have a dream and we know what we want to achieve something, but we don't really know what form this dream is or what form it might take in the future. So we water it a bit like a plant and we let it grow, and sometimes it grows and sometimes it doesn't. So I pursued my dream, not really knowing what it was when I was very young, and I wrote limericks, for example, when I was young. That's supposed to be funny. You laugh in the wrong places. So, and then years later I developed the skill of public speaking, and now, of course, you can't get me to shut up. Now he's laughing. So I have been successful to some extent in pursuing my dream. I've run campaigns, I've been published, I've even been in the Daily Mail, which is a fantastic achievement, obviously. But despite achieving things and achieving success, there's been a mental block, and the way I described it to people is that I felt as though I had a vice on my head. I have lots of ideas, but they were chaotic, and I found it difficult to focus, and I found it difficult to have clarity. So I knew I wanted to change, but the question was how? Well, a few months ago, our Vice President, who's not here today, so I can say what I like about him. Go on. Trustee Portas, who is our Vice President, as I said, offered me a ticket to an event. And you probably know how it is with presidents and vice presidents. There's always a bit of scepticism of each other's ideas, a bit of sparring and, pretending you think the other person's idea is a load of rubbish. And, that's all healthy stuff, part of the relationship. And so I was very sceptical, and I said, what is this going to do for me? And he said, just trust me. So I did trust Tor, probably for the first time ever. No, that's a joke. So I went to the event, and this event was called, I laugh as I text, it's got a stupid name, it's called Power to Achieve. So I thought, it sounds quite good, but sounds a bit cheesy. So I went along to the event, and it was run by a guy called Andy Harrington. I can see some nods in the front row. So he's one of these motivational speaker type guru types, You know the type, Anthony Robbins type. So everybody say aye, let's get going, yeah. Andy Harrington is the UK version of him. So on the first day, we sat there, and Andy Harrington said, okay, so if you want me to do this, this is what I'm going to do. I promise you that I'm going to give you the equivalent of a software reboot of your mind, if that's what you want. So I thought, great, that's exactly what I want. That's the metaphor I was after. I want that. So that was the first day. But I wasn't sure, obviously, how he was going to do this. Well, by the end of the first day, I had punched through a plank of wood that was this thick. I'm serious. So I've got it at home. if anyone wants to drop by and see the evidence, seriously, I did that, and you were meant to do a martial art move, and you put all your energy into it, and it goes bang, and it breaks. On the second day, I broke an iron rod about that thick, and it's a type that reinforces concrete. And that was painful, but I did it. So the idea is that I achieved something that I thought was impossible. That's not all that happened on the second day, because Andy Harrington is absolutely amazing, and this event was fantastic. But there was something that was concerning me about it. Well, a couple of things. One was that throughout the whole 3 days, there were lots and lots of speakers, and they were all men. Now, that's not unusual, as we know, this type of event. And another thing was that as Andy was talking and going through his psychology and sharing his examples, he was slipping in gender stereotypes here and there. And examples of these were things like men are more focused on tasks than women. Men are more suited to logical thinking. Women are better at communication, better at feeling empathy, that kind of thing. And these are myths, for one thing, that the evidence just doesn't back them up. And secondly, I think they're potentially restricting because they affect how we see ourselves. So if someone is making assumptions about your gender, you tend to internalise it, and that affects your expectations of yourself. So this is just my thing, but bear in mind, this isn't the type of environment where people really have a debate. It's not really that atmosphere. It's more like a rock concert. But anyway, I put up my hands because I just couldn't listen to it any longer. So I put up my hands, and eventually he let me speak. And so I ended up going on stage and addressing the entire auditorium, 300 people, about why I thought gender stereotypes were worrying, and why perhaps Andy Harrington should think about not using them. And he tried for a bit to explain it away with my psychology and stuff. But eventually there was nothing he can do, because I got a standing ovation and everyone was like, yeah. So after that happened, lots and lots of people came up to me at the event and said, that was great, we were all thinking that, but somebody had to say it, and you said it. And the best comment was actually, as I was leaving the event and I was at the bus stop, and it was a day later, and a guy said to me, when you said what you said, I really didn't get it. I didn't understand what you were talking about. But now I've thought about it, I understand. And he said, now it's time we take everyone else to the next level. So when he said that, that's when I knew what I had to do. And ladies and gentlemen, we all have dreams, and sometimes they remain a seed. More often than not, they grow a bit, and we water them, and they take on some form. We're not quite sure what direction they're going in. It's a bit scary, and we stifle them, and we get rid of them. But sometimes they grow, and what if we did let them grow? They might well grow into a fantastic flower, and that fantastic flower has the potential to enlighten and to provide enjoyment and liberation to many people in the world.